bustling weekend because I know a lot of you would have been cooking and baking over the weekend and doing some of the stuff that we would have learned over the weekend, over the classes, the couple classes. So it's Monday and we are going to do something very fun. And I'm very excited for this afternoon because we get to do some baking. And if you know me well, you know that I'm more a pastry chef than any other thing. I love baking, I love flour, I love making cookies and cakes and name it, I do it. Because this is where I find my zen, within my baking and within making anything with flour. So it's always where I enjoy myself. So I have chosen 3 different, and also I remember somebody saying earlier up a couple weeks ago that they don't know how to bake, and then I thought, maybe I should slip in some baking. So at least when you finish with this, you can cook and you can bake too. So you'll be able to handle a cake, a scone, a thick bread, all these things you can put together and have when you're really ready to make your spread, you have a really nice big spread of lovely stuff. So I've chosen 3 different items for us to do today. You're welcome, Vanna. And we will be doing a carrot cake. This carrot cake is, a carrot coconut bread. This is more on the Western side of the world. It's a quick bread, meaning that you just mix it and you bake it and it's easy to do. After that, we will do a pound cake. So that mama's cake is a pound cake, and I'll tell you a little bit more about why it's called a pound cake when we get to that. And then we'll close off with the Scottish scones. The scones we will learn today are the drop scones. Yes, Shona. The drop scones, meaning that you can just mix and drop. So it's not the ones that some of you are accustomed to where you can cut and put it in a wedge, but I can also show you how to do the wedge. So you can choose which one you want to do. So we will start today with the carrot coconut bread. So I hope you have your stuff ready. And I'm going to turn down the camera and make my disclaimer at the same time. When I turn it down, I am not going to be able to see, but I will hear. But Naya is here. She's up and ready to go. So she will see everything and she'll be able to tell me what is going on the chat. So feel free to ask your questions and stuff. And then if you did stuff over the weekend and you want to show some photos, feel free to do that throughout the class. Naya will, of course, see it and she will show it to me. And I also want you to share what you've been doing because I know some of you have been really doing a lot of fun stuff. So by all means, share it with us. All right, so I'm going to turn down the camera and we will get started immediately because we have 3 items to do today. All right, so we are going to start. Right. We are going to start with the carrot coconut bread. So for this, we need to get, it's a muffin method. Anybody remember what the muffin method is? Can tell me quickly? Tell me quickly, what's the muffin method? Let me see if you remember. Now, if you don't answer, I will insist that we do the quiz instead of the portfolio, or the quiz and the portfolio. So somebody tell me quick muffin method.
Is it add wet to dry and mix until moist?
Very good. Who said that, Antonia? All right,
Michelle.
so Antonia said it, and somebody else said it. Was that Antonia?
Michelle.
All right, so Antonia and Michelle saved the day because that is exactly what it is. It's where you put the dry one way, you put the moist one way, and then you combine the 2. So that's what makes it a quick bread because it's very, very easy. In this particular quick bread, you are going to have your oil, which is your fat, which is a liquid, that is going to mix with your moist ingredients. Right, so we got that. So let's go with our dry ingredients. So you can either whisk or you can sift, right? So I'm going to have 1 1/4 cups of flour. Right? Then we're going to add in some spices. Let's go with some cinnamon and some nutmeg. Where is my nutmeg? Right, cinnamon and nutmeg. We'll add a teaspoon of cinnamon. 1 teaspoon. Because anytime you're dealing with carrots, you always tend to put cinnamon and nutmeg because they complement each other. And they give you a really nice flavor when you're dealing with pumpkin and carrots. Right, and then we're going in with 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. Right, and as I always tell you, if you have other spices that you want to add, please feel free to. Let's see, and nutmeg wants to run away from me. Right, so cinnamon, nutmeg, flour. Then we're gonna go with a teaspoon of baking powder and a teaspoon of salt. We can cut down that teaspoon of salt to a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And a teaspoon of baking powder. Teaspoon of baking powder. Teaspoon. Right, so teaspoon of baking powder. No, actually, not much of a difference. I think that the oil, so the person asking about the difference with the oil and the butter, the oil may make it a little bit more moist, but it's not that big of a difference. So you can melt your butter and use it also. Right, so 1 teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Right, is that all for our, yeah, so that's all. Right, if you have a whisk, you can just whisk it up. Right, and then we will add in the sugar, which is a 3/4 cup of sugar. Three-quarter cups of sugar. So we add in that to the dry also. Right, this is a 1/4 cup. So I'm adding 3 of these. Right, so 3/4 cup of sugar. And then you put it in your coconut flakes in here 1 time. So remember, it's the packaged coconut flakes and not coconut that you grate. Right, so we're going in with 1 cup of this. Right, this is a 1/2 cup. So I'll put in 2 of this. 1. And this gives you a really nice flavor. So that's why I want you to use this and not the coconut that you grate up. Right, take your whisk and just whisk up everything because we want to mix in the sugar and the coconut flakes here also. Right, so that's it. So we'll set this aside. So Shannon, what's that? Brown sugar, that's no problem. No problem at all. Right, so put that aside. Now we'll get the wet ingredients together or the moist ingredients. Yeah. Right. You see me good here? Right, so in here we will crack 2 eggs. 2 eggs. Right, so we got there 2 eggs. Let me just wipe my hands. Don't make joke with eggs. So 2 eggs, a half cup of oil. Now it doesn't have to be canola oil, any type of vegetable oil, not olive oil. Unless a recipe says olive oil, please just use regular vegetable oil. Right, and if you wanted to use your butter, melt your butter and go ahead with it. Yeah. Medium-sized eggs. And then we will also go in with the half cup of sour cream. Sour cream. So this 8 ounce is a cup. If you would have purchased sour cream, this would be the size than 8 ounce. So using half of it. So it will be the oil, the sour cream, the eggs. Well, girl, this is the only sour cream on the market, you know? So it has to be this one you're using. I don't think I've seen another brand. What I do know is that the price has risen. Right. You can use some buttermilk made with evaporated milk. You can also use some yogurt. You can use just plain buttermilk. Right, and then we're gonna put in the vanilla extract, which is just about a teaspoon.
Miss, how much eggs did you use inside the... How much eggs did you use?
2, this is 2 whole eggs.
Okay, miss.
Yeah, 2 in here. Right, so let me recap for you. So you would have put in 2 eggs, a half a cup of oil. It doesn't matter if it's canola or vegetable oil, once it's at least a vegetable oil. Half cup of sour cream, 2 eggs. Sorry, I said the 2 eggs already. And a teaspoon of vanilla. Right, we're gonna whisk this up. And then we'll preheat the oven 1 time. 350. Right, so if you didn't get the sour cream, then feel free to use yogurt, plain yogurt. Right, so that's it there. It looks good, huh? It looks like something you could, like those protein shake, a nice yogurt shake. So it's there. Somebody wants to add the carrots already? You want to add the carrots already? Okay, we're going to add the carrots now. It's Natasha now. Yeah, it's Natasha being now. Yes, there should be room temperature. Right, so add your, right. So for those of you who are not seeing this, it shouldn't be very thin, but it's not going to be a thick mixture either. When you add in the carrots, it's going to look like a carrot punch that didn't blend properly. Oh, I forgot to tell you that your carrot should be grated on the fine side of the grater, not the wide side. with the very rough edges, not that one. On the other side, the smaller side, if you're using a box grater, the smaller side, or if you're using one of those stand graters, those little manual graters, that's fine. Right, so that's it there. Let's make sure we have everything. So we have the oil, the sour cream, the eggs, the vanilla, and the carrots are added to that now. Great. So then what do we do? What do we do now? If you want, you can add nuts it. 1 cup of carrots, 1 cup of shredded carrots. Right? Remember what I told you the last time? It's always easier to put the dry into the wet because it will mix easier. And I know, remember, I told you to put on your oven and I didn't do that. So let me put on my oven. All right, so my oven is now preheating. Yeah, so I was telling you, if you want to add in some nuts, you can add in nuts also. Your pecans, your walnuts, your almonds, you can go ahead. I'm quite fine with the coconut alone. Yes, you can put in your chocolate chips and your raisins and all that. You can go right ahead and do that. That's fine. Right? So now we mix in dry into wet because I find it easier. Naya is now asking me if this has a cream cheese frosting to go with it. Because she's thinking, hey, that is definitely gonna go great with a cream cheese frosting. Yes, there is a cream cheese frosting. Right, and with all of these, remember I tell you, you just cut and fold. Do not beat it, cut and fold. Because the more you mix it, the more the gluten is going to stretch. And once gluten is forming, it's going to get very tough. Right, so cut and fold, right? Brush under it and bring it up and around, and that's it. So you get a nice thick batter. It looks almost like your banana bread last week. And this is fine. Drop your weapons, drop your spatulas, stop mixing, stop right now, stop. Because we don't want to risk over mixing, right? If it has lumps, leave the lumps. If it looks like it's almost incomplete, leave that. The last thing you want is to take it out of the oven and it's destroyed. So let's put that aside. Let's get our pans ready. We have the bread pan. Right, so what we're gonna do now? Somebody tell me quickly what we're gonna do now. Let me see who remembers. If you don't answer, I'm gonna get a quiz prepared for you. 10 questions.
Yeah, I'm with the paper. But I'm just cut it.
Snip the paper, miss.
I love this class. Who's that? Yes, Antonia, and who was the person who put on the mic? They saved the day.
Greasy paper, greasy pan, miss.
Who's that? Okay, well, there's a lot of you. A lot of you. Right. So yes, we are going to either grease the pan, or I'm saying either because if you are going to line the pan, you don't need to grease it. So if you're lining the pan, get your piece of paper, fold it in 4. Okay, let me open it straight out. Right, so you have your square, fold it into 4. Let me see, camera now. What's the question? If you over mix it, it's gonna come out tough and it may end up even falling, sinking. Right. So when you fold in your smallest square, the part that is open with the 4 edges opened, 4 edges free, you're gonna cut a diagonal. You can cut it as deep as you want because when you put it in the pan, it is going to overlap in any case. Remember, it's a square, it doesn't matter which way you put it. Right? You drop it in the pan. It is going to find its own way So don't worry. And that's it. You don't need, and this is regular greaseproof paper. I don't think it's something fancy. It's just that the Chinese grocery had a white one this round. So I just find the white one look fancier, so I bought a lot of it. Right, and that's it. You don't need to grease the pan with this. Even if you're doing a cake, you didn't have to grease the pan with this. You just drop it down. The grease from any product is going to be enough to keep it from actually sticking on any product. Okay, so grease flowing here. So we're going to pour this. I'm going to pour it in. Right, we're pouring it in the pan. This is probably a 9-inch pan because it's not a small pan. This pan is probably about a 9x4. And look at that. We didn't even take a half hour. And the first item is finished. Give yourself a round of applause. Good. Right, and this is it. So if you have nuts and you want to put your nuts on the top, you can do that. Why diagonally? Because when you cut it, I'll show you just now, right? Right, when you cut it diagonally, you get this overlapping here. You see these two pieces that overlapping? You get that on the four sides. If you didn't cut it diagonally, you would have had paper just trying to bunch up in the corner there and give you some trouble. But once you cut it on the diagonal and you drop it in the pan, one part is going to overlap and it's just going to fit squarely, if I can use that term, in the pan. Right? Or if you're into sewing and you make what do you call these things? These box sheets, what do you call them, Naya? The fitted sheets. You know when you're cutting the fitted sheet, how you have to cut out a square and then sew it up? That's another thing you can do. Cut out the square. Now, only the people who actually sew fitted sheets will understand that. So you cut out, yeah, the box sheet. I mean, okay, Naya. Right? You cut out that square so that you wouldn't even have the overlapping. It would just be two pieces that meeting up together. Right? Now, if you're not a seamstress like myself, just cut it on the diagonal and down. Right? So my oven isn't ready yet, so I'm just going to put this aside until the oven calls and says, hey, I'm ready. And we will get ready to do the sponge cake, right? So in the meantime, if your oven is ready, put it in the oven. If your oven is not ready, just put it aside and get your stuff together for the sponge cake. This will bake for about 40 minutes. So you can set your timer for 40 minutes after you put it into the oven. Right, so this is how it's looking. Cooler? Yeah, I think so too. All right, so put this aside. Right, so let's get our stuff together for the cake, which is butter, using ice and sugar for this. And then we'll have a little chat about pound cake. Yeah, girl, I'm multi-talented. But which one? The sheet? I'm multi-talented about the sheet. Yeah, I probably would have sewn sheets many, many years ago. I did. Oh, Naya told me I sewed her sheets when we moved into this house. I took 4 complete sewing classes throughout my life. I have certificates, and the only thing I can sew is sheets, tablecloths, and pillowcases. That's all. So I'll say, yeah, I'm a pro at sewing. Right, so I just rinsed out my bowl and brought it back. Easier to clean up later. And let me just put my stuff in the oven because the oven just heat. Right, so let's go with the cake. So remember I told you earlier that this is called a pound cake. Pound cake is really a term given to the cake. It doesn't mean that the cake has to be a pound or that the ingredients has to be a pound. What it means is that your main ingredients are all the same weight. Weight, not volume, but they are the same weight. So back in the day, when the mamas used to buy their stuff, they used to buy them in 1 pound packages. So it was easy for them to say, you know what? I am going to make a cake. I'm going to use a 1 pound of butter, a 1 pound of sugar, a 1 pound of flour, and a 1 pound of eggs. Those were the main ingredients. And then you add in your baking powder to suit, or your salt, or your flavoring. Oh, I don't have a substitute for egg at this point for these recipes. Because with these recipes, you can't just take out the eggs from them. They're going to collapse. Right? So I am going to weigh my butter because you probably realized by now I always weigh butter. I think it's more accurate and more fun. So let's see how good I am. I'm going to say that this is 8 ounces. Oops, I need to put it on yet. I'm going to estimate this to be 8 ounces or 227 grams. Let's see how good I am. It's saying that I am off. I don't think I'm off. Okay, I think this is not weighing proper. I'm gonna start again. What? Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, something is telling me that this is not weighing properly. For some reason, this cannot be 150. So I'll do it as a volume measure. Okay, so I guess it was weighing properly. It was. I apologize, scale. I have to apologize to my scale. My scale was correct. It was because of how I cut the butter before. It was looking off. Right, so this is my 1 cup of butter here. And to that, we will add 1 cup of icing sugar. So before we add the icing sugar, let's mix the butter a little bit. Let's beat it a little bit. Now your butter was supposed to be soft. Remember, I told you that last week. So let's get a little bit of air inside the butter. We're doing this by hand. Butter was supposed to be soft. Right, so let's go in with the 1 cup of icing sugar. Oops. Oops. Woo. I'm making a cloud in here. This is going to give me some trouble. Right, once you're using Regal, get ready for the cloud. And let's go ahead and put in the zest one time, whichever one you have, orange, lime, lemon. But if you don't want any zest at all, you don't have to put it. Right, I have some limes, I'm using limes. The first time I made this for Naya and they was just a trial. And within about 10 minutes, the whole cake had disappeared. So I can tell you, this is going to be one of your family's favorites too. It comes out tasting like a real long time cake, like what your granny used to make. So you're bringing back that real vintage cake kind of taste. Right, and put in your extract one time. You don't have to use vanilla. You can actually use whatever flavor you want to use. So go in with your flavoring, 1.5 teaspoons. Actually, it's better that you use the zest because the juice is going to add more liquid to it. But if you have the juice alone, you see the juice alone is not going to give you that flavor, that real rich flavor. Right? But if that is what you have, put about a tablespoon, 1 to 2 tablespoons. Right? And we're going to mix again. Woo. There goes the cloud. Isn't this fun? To think that back in the day before women had, and I'm saying women because it was primarily women in the kitchen, before they had all these such nice gadgets. This is how a cake used to be made. And strange enough, I never saw any of my grandmother's cake fork. So maybe the issue nowadays is really the machines. We need to go back to basics. And listen to me, you see this thing about if you're mixing it to the left, you need to continue to mix it to the left. And if you're right-handed, just use your right hand and don't switch with your left hand. That's nonsense. That's old wives' tales. My hand will get tired in 2 minutes and I will switch to my next time. Right? Nothing will happen to your butt. Some of you are probably laughing, eh? Now my hands are cramping. Right? Thank you, Granny. And thank you, KitchenAid. Right, so we want to get some air into this. Take a 5 seconds and go back again. Your hands cramping too, it's just me alone. Please say yes. Some of your hands probably cramping to the point you can't even type. Right, so it gets to look like this is actually a glaze, when you think about it. The icing sugar, the butter, and the zest. This is actually a glaze. Now it will get a little lighter color. That's when you know that you have beaten some air into it. Wow, this is interesting. Okay, we good there. So let's get our eggs together. And we get the dry ingredients together one time. So we're going to get 4 eggs. Yeah, boy, granny, when you go by your granny for your little holidays, and granny call you to either turn the ice cream pale or beat the cake. That used to be the semi-sweet part of it. Ah, cake making or cake eating. All right, so we got 4 eggs. Crack your eggs separately because you know if you get a bad one inside there, it will throw off everything. You know, I didn't set my timer. I think it's about 5 minutes. Right. 4 eggs. 4 whole eggs. So you put this aside. And then we get our dry ingredients together. Yes, I did respond. I did respond to the person asking about the orange zest and the orange juice. And I told you that it's better you use the zest because the zest is stronger. You get flavor from the zest. The juice is not going to give you as much flavor as you would like. But if that is all you have, then go ahead and use about 2 tablespoons is what I said. Right? But the zest is what is going to give you that real strong flavor. Right, so we are going to sift 1 cup of flour. Are you seeing that there? Right. We are going to sift 1 cup of flour together with 2 tablespoons of powdered milk and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Right, 2 tablespoons of powdered. Remember the 1/8 cup, the little one? This is 2 tablespoons. Right, so you can use 1 of this. And 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. Cornstarch, 2 teaspoons. And do we have salt here? Right, a teaspoon of baking powder and a 1/4 of soda. Teaspoon of powder and a 1/4 of soda. Soda. Right, and then I'm not seeing any salt in the recipe, but I will add in a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You know I love my salt, right? And then that's it. So let's make sure we have everything. A cup of flour, 2 tablespoons of powdered milk, 2 teaspoons of cornstarch, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. Cornstarch will actually burst in it and give you a nice smooth finish to your end product. Give you a nice moist cake also. Remember when we did the cookies and we put in the cornstarch for that same reason? Keep it nice and moist and gel, give a nice gelatinized texture. Okie dokie. So we good with this? Now you can put in some spice in there too. I will put in a little bit of, you know me and my pumpkin spice, right? I love my pumpkin spice. And this also brings out a nice old flavor. You remember Granny used to put that in? For those of you who are older than me, that's a kitchen joke, right? But for those of you whose grandmoms were in the 1940s and 30s and so, they used to put a little bit of spice in their cake. So that's what used to make it taste like a granny cake. So that's that. Let's put that aside for now. So we're going back to the eggs and the butter mixture, the cream mixture. So let's add in the eggs one at a time. Right, and we are going to beat this. Now this is where you get to beat something. So let me get my spatula. So if your bowl looks like mine, just scrape it out. And now we beat. So for all the times I told you not to beat, use it here. Put in our energy right here. We didn't want to go to work this morning and you were upset that you had to go to work, put in that energy right here. How much? I use about a quarter teaspoon of the pumpkin spice. Right, so when you beat in your egg, it should disappear. It should look as if there was never anything added to it. So we see we got that there. It looks good, right? Forgive the noise, but my mixer is working. Right? Egg number 2. Slowly put the mixer on slow first. Then you can switch it to medium, then full speed. Right, same thing will happen the second time. It should look like if nothing was added. My God, my fingers are really hurting. So there you see it. Going with the third egg. Taking a little beating again. Right, by now you should be breaking out in a sweat. Wondering why you came to class today. That's good. Bring out the mixer. No, we're not using the mixer. When you see that Natasha done mix up hers with the mixer. And she laughing in the corner there. Right, because we're using the ice and sugar, we don't want to mix it up. You see, this is a good alternative when you don't have a mixer. Or if you go to a place and you want to make a cake quickly, you don't have that kind of luxury. Or if current gone and you have to make a cake quick and easy. Right, so you see the third addition. And we still look like if we haven't added any liquid. Oh, what a thing. Fingers hurting. Right, and we're going in with the last egg. Oh my God. Oh yes, I now remember Natasha doesn't like cake. Right?
Yes, Chantal.
Yeah, I know Natasha doesn't like baking. I now remember Natasha's daughter likes baking. All right. So we're coming down to the last. Down to the last. Oh, beautiful. That is somebody's banana bread. Michelle, you look great. Right, so we're coming on to the last part. Right, 4 eggs. Beautiful. Right, beautiful. And now we are going to add the flour. Right, so we're gonna add in. Nice, but what is it banana bread? It's banana bread? What she said it is. Oh, is it? Oh, so you did your cake already. Beautiful. Right, so we're gonna add in the dry ingredients. And we want to be very careful when we're mixing it. But the last thing we want is the over mix. And it should look like a ice cream that was just churned. Or we don't want to beat it up too much. So tell me if this doesn't look like your granny's cake long time. Just about when you reach in time to get the bowl to lick. Right. Yeah, it is. It is, but it's gonna taste great. Right, so just take your spatula and finish up. Make sure that there isn't anything sticking to the bottom of your bowl and so. Make sure that all your egg was mixed in. And that's it, we're ready to pan up. This looking good. And smell it. It smells good, it smells like long time. Ew, I never enjoyed licking the bowl. To this day, you will not get me to do that at all. Right, and just like how I had a piece of paper for the square, I have a piece of paper for the round. So this was a square also. And what I did is I just cut it around and then I slit coming down. Right? And why you want to do that is so that when you rest it in the pan, same thing like the last one, it just goes up and it finds its place overlapping each other and it's flushed down in the pan. And that's it. You don't have to grease up. And I always have these cut up in the drawer. In my drawer on my right side here. I always have them cut up, so when I'm ready to make a cake, I normally make cakes around 8, 6, and 8 inches. They're already there. So I'm going to right. So we're just going to scoop it down into the pan. Easy, easy. Very, oh my gosh, that is beautiful, Deborah. Beautiful. Y'all make me so proud. You too. I just hope that this is not the last set of cooking and baking you will be doing, but that you continue to cook and bake even after the class is done and continue to develop your skills. Okay, so this is what it should look like. It should look like Granny's cake. How Granny's cake used to look back then. Very good to go. Right, so we can put this in the oven one time because this is going to bake for the same, at the same 350. And this should bake for about 35, 40 minutes. So it's not much of a big cake. This, by the way, is an 8-inch pan, a shallow 8-inch pan. So an 8-inch pan will do fine with this, right? So I can see. Right, so my carrot bread still has about 10 minutes. I'm going to put this in the oven with the carrot bread because it's the same temperature. Can you believe we did 2 things already in the first hour? Isn't that amazing? Oh, okay. Nice having you, Shanice. Shanice, what's the name? Nice having you, Shanice. Thank you for visiting. Okay, so we are going to get ready to do the spoon. Right, so tell me how things going with you on your side. You can take a 2 minutes to clean up, and you can show me your stuff in the 2 minutes here. Post up what you've been doing. Let's see your masterpieces. Nobody posted. You're still searching for your photos. Oh my gosh, is that? Oh, that's not something I taught you. But bagels, yes. I love bagels. You know how long now you're watching that kind of way because you know how long I told her I was going to make some bagels. Thanks, Chantal. Thanks. Right, so let's get stuff together. Who's this now? Nice, Vanna. And all the time Vanna saying she coming by us for dinner. And she making her dinner across there. Right, so we're getting ready to do the scones. Now, the scones and the cake will not bake at the same temperature. They will not bake at the same temperature. So we may have to make the scones and keep them one side. Or if you're like me and you have a double oven, you can light up the next oven. Or if you have a right. Beautiful. Who's that, Natasha? Michelle. Michelle, you look wonderful. Yeah. If you have a toaster oven, you can bake your scones in the toaster oven while the oven is occupied. So we can go ahead and make the scones. Tell me if you're ready. Actually, tell me if you're not ready yet and you want 2 minutes again, because we have some time. If you don't answer, then I take it that you're ready and we can just move ahead. Wow, yeah, it looks good. What's that? Deborah Thorne. Deborah put up her name one time, yes? Taking off that is thing, that is hers. Putting up her intellectual property. Beautiful. Okay, so let's go with the cone. So for the scones, I'm using my same bowl. For the scones. Now remember, we were supposed to have the shortening and the butter in the fridge. Actually, before we put this, let's cut up our cherries in the meantime. Because the cherries, after we put in the butter, we will have to move quickly. So I'm going to cut up the cherries. No, Alicia? No, that's somebody. Oh, the picture had moved. Wow. Beautiful. I love your plate. That's a beautiful plate. Yes, use the butter alone if that's what you have. When it comes to scones and biscuits, you can go half and half with your shortening and your butter. So you'll just use half cup of butter, but it has to be cold. Knife right here, yes. Right, so I'm going to cut up my cherries. I have this probably have enough pounds for cherries. 100 grams. This is here exactly 100 grams of cherries. I'm going to cut them up into the bowl. Right, you feel free to cut it in what size you want. I actually like halves. Halves. Halves, is that pronounced right now? Yeah? Halves. Halves. Right, so I have halves. And with cherries, you can go with any one of the 3 colors. Your red, your yellow, your green, or combination. Because with this stone, you're going to get some color from your cherries. So you can feel free and use more than one color. Yes, you can use blueberries, you can use strawberries, you can use cranberries, you can use different types of nuts. Let me think what else you can use. Right, so pretty much anything you can put in your, pardon me? Glaze, yes, you can use your glazed fruits. You can use that. Now, when you're baking and you have to use cherries, you always use this type of cherry to bake. This is called glacé cherries. These are the ones that look kind of dry. And that's because this one can take the heat. The other one is very juicy. Those are called maraschinos, and those are used for other desserts because they're very juicy. You don't necessarily want that juiciness in your baked products. So you always use the glacé cherry. Right, I'm just gonna wash my hand. Glacé cherries. That is like these glacé. You get them in the grocery. I got it from a Chinese grocery. No, it's Miss Anna. But you can get the Miss Anna. You can get the Sharon's. You can get again. In Massey, obviously, you'll get the Cuisine brand. So you're just looking for it. It's not going to be in a bottle. It's going to be in a pack. So that's an easy way to know the difference. The ones in the packs are glacé, Glace, with a little accent on the E. And the one in the bottles are the maraschinos. Right? The glacé, you can practically see through them. Right? The maraschino, you can't see through those. And they are brighter red. So, right. So this is it. The almonds that I am using are these. They're called sliced almonds. The reason why I chose the sliced almonds is because in this scone, you choose what you wanted. But you see these little brown edges, they'll show up more than using the ones that are sliced and doesn't have the skin on them. So this will actually show up more contrast of color with the red than putting in the ones that are just the cream kind of color, because that is going to be lost in the whole thing. Right. So now we will go. Actually, let me check on my carrot bread. All right, so my bread is not finished yet. So let's go with this now. 2 cups of flour. And I think we have to get some buttermilk for this too. Am I right or am I right? Buttermilk, buttermilk, buttermilk. Yeah, so let's make some buttermilk also. Right, so I'm putting that aside. We're making some buttermilk with some evaporated milk this time. So 1 cup of evaporated milk and 2 teaspoons of vinegar. Right? Cider vinegar, white vinegar, whichever vinegar you have, you use what you have, right? You fuss up yourself, don't worry up yourself. Oops. Right, so 2 teaspoons of vinegar and a cup of evaporated milk. Right, so I have my buttermilk right here. So put that aside. Right, now we have the flour here. To that we will add a 1/3 cup of sugar. One-third sugar. A tablespoon of baking powder. Half teaspoon salt and half teaspoon soda. right? So let me recap for you there. We would have put 1 cup of evaporated milk on the side with 2 teaspoons of vinegar, right? So we would have mixed that together and set it aside. And in the bowl, dry ingredients, 2 cups of flour, 1/3 cup of sugar, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, half teaspoon of salt, and half teaspoon of baking soda. So we just mix that together. Right, we will set this aside. Right, so that is my, I'm a bit on my carrot bread, but that's not ready yet. Good. Now we are going to get the 1/4 cup of shortening and the 1/4 cup of butter. Right? Scones, yeah. Yeah, we're making scones. Scones, some people say scones. I had a lecturer who used to say scones. So scones, scones. As long as you can spell it, it's S-C-O-N-E-S. You can call it scones or scones, whichever one you choose to call it. Right, so I have a little bowl here from earlier. Right, so half and half with the butter and the shortening. It should be hard, please, people. It should be hard. And then we grating it in. So once you have yours cut out already, go ahead and grate it up. I actually have a whole 3 ounces there. I'm just going to use a 1 ounce of this. And you can go, you can mix and match as you please. You can go half and half with the, it should be a total of half cup, but you can go half and half with the shortening and butter. You can go all butter, all shortening. Right. This back for me, please, Naya. Right, so this should have been cold. Okay. Right, so this should have been cold, and we're going to grate it into the mixer here. Right, so just as I'm sure I would have taught you something when you had to grate it in before. As you grate it in, just toss it up in the flour. Right, toss it up in the flour because we don't want it to start to melt. Right, so it's the same thing. This is not a pastry, but you want to make sure, especially if you're not in an air-conditioned environment and it's a little warm around you, as you grate, toss it up in the flour one time. Grate and toss, grate and toss. Right, because it's going to, as it grates and it sits on top of each other, it's going to start to fuse again. So, all right, I need to go check my carrot bread. I have to check my carrot bread. Right, so you go ahead and do that. Let me just check my carrot bread because I feel it finished now. Right, so it still has a little time again. Right, so let's just break it down a little bit more. So just rub it in your hands a little bit. Right, just rub it in your hands. You want to get the bigger pieces down. Right. Break it down a little bit, break it down. Right, mix it up good in your flour. And then you can add your cherries. And your nuts. And we mix this together. So tell me what's next. Somebody tell me quickly what we're doing next. Don't rush. Please don't rush. Okay, rush. Very good to nobody who answered. That's very good. Yes, Antonia. Thank you, Antonia. We're adding all the buttermilk. Oh, we were supposed to add some vanilla to this also. So add your vanilla, or you can add coconut, or you can add an almond. Because everything else has vanilla. I'm going to add some almond. And it already has some almond in it. It's gonna taste yummy. Right, and of course we are going to do what now? Say it loud. Very good, mix gently. Very good. Right, it's gonna be a little tacky, which is good. Now you have two things you can do with it at this point. One, take your scoop and drop it onto the grease sheet. So you have drop spoons, or you can just press it down in a circle. You can take a spatula or a knife and just mark it out into wedges. Pull them away from each other a little bit and bake it like that if you want to get the wedge. Right, so I just needed to wash my hand. And now I need to check my bread. Right, so you can choose which way you want to display it. And you can go ahead and do that. Right, I'm just taking a little cleanup here. Right. So we're getting that. I'm going with the easier route. I'm going with the easier route, which is just wrap and bake. Right, so you can grease with some oil or some margarine, shortening, whatever you have, you can grease with that. Really doesn't make a difference. And of course, you know me and my trusty little ice cream scoop. I'm gonna use the ice cream scoop and just right, easy does it. Right, so my carrot bread still refused to cook in the middle. So I have to go back in for a couple minutes again. And I feel like you have to put less liquid. Okay, so the question was, how do you get like the square ones sold at Rituals? You put less liquid. So instead of using the cup of milk, you use about a 3/4. And then when it's finished, you just press it out and cut it into squares. I love anything with nuts in it. So you see these spoons? I'm really hoping that this time Naya doesn't give away all to the neighbors. And yeah, you're watching me. I told Naya, give the neighbors some. By the time I come back, Naya took all. I said, Mommy, I thought you wanted me to give away all. So this time, I am praying that she just leave some. I'm saying it loud enough for her to hear. Please leave some home for me. Right? My dear assistant, Naya. Leave some for me this time, right? My neighbors had a really grand time this weekend. They got where was cones. They got scones, they got cake, they got banana bread. What else? That was it? I think that was the one. My pan is so soft, boy. Trying to find another spot. Put an extra one. Squeeze in one here. You know, this will probably come out really good if we pipe it too, because I'm looking at how smooth it is. I'm sure this can pipe. Oh no, the cherries will stick. Never mind. Mission aborted. That wouldn't look. So here's one. I'm just gonna take a chance, drop you in the middle here. It's going to stick up to each other, but that's all right. Right now, the only thing is that the oven, well, if your oven is, if you still have stuff in your oven, it means your oven is at 350, so you'll have to wait a little bit before you put this in the oven, because the oven has to be at about 425, 400, 425. And I didn't light up my other ovens because I said I'll just wait on that. It's not going to be long. The wait should be about 10 minutes to the most, I think. So if you're doing like me and you have to wait, you can just tidy up in the meantime. And of course, if you have photos that you want to show your photos. Now, we have any photos there? We don't have anything there. Nothing new. We didn't do anything new this week. So I'm looking to see if we have any photos. We don't. Oh my goodness. No, we don't have any new photos. Let me see if I have anything here. Somebody showing beautiful phone. That is what? The carrot bread. Cream cake. The cake. Yeah, looks like the cake. Yeah, we can make the cream cheese in the meantime, you know. Let me see. That is the cream cheese for the carrot. The only thing is that I did not take out my cream cheese. I see if you get a piece of cream cheese here. I didn't take out cream cheese. I didn't. So take. Oh, look, somebody's showing. What is that? That is a. Oh, it's yum yum. What is it? Is it a cake? A cakesicle? A cake pop? And I can't even read the name from here. All I see is Reggie's. Chantal. What she said it is? See, I think she typed something there. It's a cake pop. She didn't say. She's probably gonna type it now. That's right. That's it. It's something made with sugar. Made with sugar. Full stop. All right, so we can make the cream cheese glaze, but to be honest, I did not take out my cream cheese, so my cream cheese is going to give me some trouble. Get a spatula. Right, so for the cream cheese glaze, we need to get oh, so this has, okay, well, actually now seeing that this doesn't really take much cream cheese. It's about 2 ounces of cream cheese. So it's not much. Right. So I'm going to try to figure out how to soften my cream cheese. Right, because the first thing I have to do is soften my cream cheese. Oh, Zia, you look good. Is that the bread from the hoagie, the same recipe that you use? It looks beautiful, my dear. Right, so this is my me trying to soften my cream cheese. So I'm going to make an excuse now so I can go away from it to let the temperature drop a little bit. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to check my carrot bread, which I'm really going to do. Carrot bread, give me a real- Right, my carrot bread really tested me. Right, so I'm going to check. Yeah. Right, so this is my carrot bread. Woo! I know, right? And this is what I want to show you with this. When you put in the paper like this and you take it out the oven, you see me there? See me better now? Right. It's so easy that you can just not do that. Right? Just pull it to release on both sides. And then you hold the paper and take it out easy. Woo! Wasn't that? Remember we didn't? No, you're not you. We didn't grease the pan. We didn't have to. Right? And look at how easy it's going to come off. Right now, you shouldn't take out the paper when it's now out of the oven because it's still delicate and it might end up peeling off the sides. Yeah, it comes out easy, and that's why I'll always recommend just doing this. You don't have to, ouch, ouch. You don't have to greasy pans. See, and it peels off quite easily. Now, as I said before, I will not recommend you doing this just as it comes out of the oven because it might end up pulling off the whole set. But I just wanted to show you how easy it is. And just in case you didn't believe me that you don't have to grease, you see a piece of the side coming out there. I wanted to actually show you because I like to prove myself when I tell you something. I'm not the kind of person I will tell you, oh yeah, you go ahead and do it. And lose my credibility as a tutor. Now it overlapped on the inside of the bread here. So I have to do a little surgery. Ah, beautiful. Right, so you can't even see that this razor. Voila. Thank you for that round of applause. Appreciate it. Right, so this is the carrot bread. The cake is almost ready to come out, so I'll bring that over as soon as it's finished. Right, let me just check the cake also because it was a language. Right, so the cake, I've put the cake for another 4 minutes. And I was really buying some time too because I wanted this to melt a little. Right, so this should be a little softer. Ah, beautiful. Right, so to this you'll add the 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of powdered sugar. Oh, sorry. My video director was telling me that I'm out of the shot. Right. This into the, yeah. Right. Right, so one cup of powdered sugar. Remember, again, if you're using Regal, you're gonna get that Regal cloud. Just get ready for it. See it there? You don't have to do anything for this to get up and fly it. If you talk to this too loud, it will get up and fly it. It can stay there. Right, and then now I have a nice little sugar cover right here. Right, so 2 tablespoons of this is 2 ounces, but I use 2 ounces. The recipe says 1.5 ounce, but I used about 2 ounces, which is about 4 tablespoons of cream cheese, plus a cup of powdered sugar. And now I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of milk. Now it says fat-free. I'm just using what I have in front of me, which is evaporated. And put in some vanilla extract also. I'll put in about a half teaspoon. Right now, as soon as your cake is finished, please go ahead and put in your cones. Scones should bake for about 20 minutes. And that's exactly the time we have today. Right. And that's it there, your glaze. Now because my cream cheese wasn't room temperature, I find that I may have a couple lumps. But this is fine. Actually have a little piece up here. Right, so let me go put this in the oven. Okay. Now I Right, so I'm going to glaze this in the meantime while we're waiting. Oh my gosh, it looks beautiful. Okay, so you did a fruit cake, but you didn't dredge the fruit in the flour. So that's probably why your fruit sank. How about the lime? Lime. Right, so I'm going to glaze this. The other one. Right, so it's going to be a little bit runny when you put it on. But that's what we want. It's a glaze. Glazes usually run. And trust me, this is what really makes folk attracted to your stuff, your finishings. So you put a little drip glaze there. Oh my gosh. By the time you put this up on your status, as my time is not status. When you put it on your status, everybody be asking, what is that? How much you want of that? Right? I'm trying to get a nice organized drip with it. Trying to get the drip my way. I love this. Right. So that's that. And now I'm going to add the finishing touch, which is the coconut. And guys, please don't put any sprinkles on this. Do not put any sprinkles on this. Right. This is the main attraction here. That cream cheese and this coconut. Oh yeah. And if you wanted, you could have toasted some of your coconut and put on it too. Right, so this is it here. Ah, yeah, you can be creative. Once you're cooking with me, you can be as creative as you like. I will never stop you. Right, let me check my cake. Okay, so my cake came out. And remember, it's a pound cake. Oh, sorry, Naya, sorry. It's a pound cake, so it's all right for it to split. That's okay. I know some people, they get really upset when the cake split open and they make a big issue and say, why, how I can stop that? And it's really no big issue when it's a pound cake, because pound cakes usually split open. Right, remember we didn't grease. We didn't grease the sides. I just run in the spatula around it. If I have ice cream, I think we do. Yeah, we normally do. So there should be some in the freezer. Right, so it's my little baby pound cake made by hand. Right, so remember we didn't grease, and look how easy it's peeling off. You see now? Do I have to go this way? No, this way? I'm trying to get in the camera. Somebody's sharing something. Oh, Wayne, you look awesome. That is the way. And you know, traditionally, a pound cake is a loaf. So once you make it in a loaf, that's normally how you tell people this is a pound cake, by making it in a loaf. Thank you, Naya. Thank you. No, you can glaze while it's warm. You're talking about the carrot bread, yeah, you can glaze it while it's warm. That's no problem. Right. See how easy that was? And the whole thing is, it's hot. It's hot. Oh yeah, it's hot. Oh my gosh. That's it right there. Yeah, and we're still on time. Isn't this awesome? Oh, I didn't set the timer. That's why it's making all that noise. Right. So this is my pound cake. Beautiful, right? And you can use some of that glaze on your pound cake. Now you took a picture of my pound cake. Look, somebody made it. Oh, that looks so beautiful. Is that fun? That's fun. Yeah. I know fun stuff now. Fun, you look great, girl. Naya, I think we should put the rest of this. Oh, Naya told me, she gave me instructions to put the rest of my glaze on the cake. Right, so what I'll do this time, I will not let it run. I will just do this. We don't have anything to sprinkle on it tonight. We don't have any zest or anything. I have my little pieces of cream cheese. Or, you know what we should have done? We should have at least colored it so it look different. Okay, so this is the little draining of glaze that Naya told me to put on the cake. So Vanna, sorry, yeah, but you have to eat cake and carrot bread with the same glaze. But you know, Vanna, she don't fast. So that's no problem. Nice. I wish we had something to put on this night. We should have something. Yeah. Okay. So let me see how things going on your side now. Let me see. Let me see. Send the location. No problem. You message me, I will send you the location. I'm so tempted to put some sprinkles on this cake. I told them don't put the sprinkles on the banana, on the carrot bread. But we can put sprinkles on the cake now, yeah? Leave it like that. We'll leave it like that. But I really wish I had something to put on it. Yes, great job. You all really did a great job. I am telling you. I'm just waiting for the... I'm waiting. Yes, excellent work. Yeah, you can put that glaze on everything. You can put Yeah, Antonia, I thought about it, but because I have almonds in the scones too now, I didn't really want to. But you know what? Seeing that you brought it up, I'll put it. And no, I don't grant charge. Nobody ever asked me for my location, so don't even try that. Mine in the oven also. Diana, I agree with you, yes? Sprinkle anything. See, when is your birthday? As Leon say, you can... Oh, nah, class will finish already. By that time, you're into your Christmas class. Leon, you're 10th of February, I'm the 27th. And I only know one person I've ever met with the same birthday as myself. Anybody sharing the same birthday with me, we can celebrate together. 27th of February. Cheesecake. You bringing cheesecake for me, Vanna? So Camille, you have a very beautiful daughter, you know that. You know that. My son is the 19th. Yes. Oh, your bestie is. I mean, obviously, right? Yeah, my son was born 1 week before my birthday. So he was like my present that year, almost 18 years ago. Check, send a message to me, Vanna. Yeah, Kate, yeah. Kate, you do really beautiful stuff, so you don't need me to make anything for you. All right, so let me turn this down because I need to go by the oven. You're real chatty, you know. You will make me burn my cake. So Russell, it's not Russell, what's his name? Leon. Leon, like I put some almonds on it because you said sprinkle anything. So I did that. Good thing I didn't listen to stay and chat with you all now. Right now, but I need to move this one. Right, so I would have started to bake it on 350 and then turn it up to 400. So my bottoms got a little burnt because I didn't start at the right temperature. But once you lift it up, you realize how nice and light they are. Oh, somebody's showing me something here. Beautiful, Tashana. And you use a different color. Beautiful. Beautiful. Somebody was last week Friday. Yeah. I love black cake too. I love any kind of cake actually. Yeah, so if you realize it will be very light, once you would have mixed it properly, it would be very light. Really nice and light. I'll move the light from it. Right. I didn't still too, especially because Naya gave away my own last weekend. I told her give them a little too. When I came out, Naya gave them the whole. So I'm really happy for baking it over today. So let's talk. We just have about 5. Time is up, but we have a little 5 minutes. Let's just talk about next Thursday. This Thursday, sorry. So this Thursday is our final class. So, you know, in this final class, you have class party. So we are going to be celebrating doing something called shoe pastry. Shoe as in the shoe you put on your feet. So, yeah, party. Shoe pastry is a French type of pastry. We use it to make things like puffs, what we call puffs. Yes, that's the correct spelling. It's pronounced shoe. We use it to make puffs, what we call puffs. So that cheese puff and tuna puff and all that. That is shoe pastry. But we will learn to make some, besides the appetizers that you can make with it, you can make desserts too. So we'll do some cream puffs. We'll do some eclairs. We'll do some churros, which is more Mexican, and we will do there's something else. Crullers. Yes. We do some crullers also, which is like a donut, and you glaze it. So you can use the same glaze that you did today. You can bring that back and use it. So for that, you will need to make sure everything is at room temperature, especially your eggs, because your eggs is the main ingredient in that whole thing. Your eggs can either make or break that whole thing. So we will use room temperature eggs. Yes, Fana. We will use room temperature eggs. Your butter can be room temperature. It can be, right? You can use margarine also. Well, I think I already sent the stuff, so you will have your ingredients already. And you can get, if you can get a star tube, you will need a star tube, especially for your churros, because it gives you that nice star effect with the churros. If you want to use it also to make the puff shells itself, you will need a big star tube. The tube size is like I'm not too sure exactly what the number is, but it might be a 860 something, like a 869 or 865 or somewhere there. You can get one those sizes. You can also use sizes in the D series. What is it, boy? It's a 2D. I think it's 2D or somewhere around there. But if you go to purchase one, just ask for a big statue. So it's the 2D, right? So I want to say that it is the 2D. I know it's a D. D meaning it's a big one. So you either go for that one, you go for like a 863, 864, somewhere around there, 860 something. Those are also big star tubes. Or you can just ask them to show you the biggest star tubes they have and you pull out one. Right? And you use that. It's no big thing. If you don't have the star tubes, that's fine. You can use the piping bag just like that. I'll show you how to use the piping bag straight like that. If you don't have a piping bag, still fine. At least have as a pluck bag or a thick plastic bag so that I can show you how to use that also. But make an effort to get the tube or to get the piping bag because the 1M is okay. I find it's a little bit small because it's a puff you're making. You want it to be a sizable, you know, like a little smaller than this. So the M's are, I find a little too small. The M is what I will use to pipe on a cupcake. So if that's all you get, well then use that. But I prefer that you have a D size or like in the 860 whatever, right? Or just ask a big statue and that. Right, so any questions or comments, you can tell me now or ask me now because we're already after 6. So Ms. George, you can unmute them so that they can chat with me. Okay, so since you have nothing to say, then I bid you